Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Time-Lapse Drawings with Chris Wharton. I'm your artist, Chris Wharton, and today I'm going to show you all the drawings I did this week for Inktober.
But before we get into that, I just wanted to catch you up on a bit of current events, and I wanted to point out a few Inktober Rockstars that I've been following this year. First off, my channel has passed 2,000 subscribers this week, so I just wanted to say welcome to everybody who's new here, and thank you so much for subscribing. I've been having so much fun doing these videos and chatting with the community that we're building here, and I've been getting all these great comments that have been so incredibly positive and uplifting, and I'm just so happy to see that people are enjoying what I'm creating here and are actually getting inspired a little bit. My goal with this channel has not only been to make stuff that's fun to watch, but hopefully it teaches you something and it also inspires you to get off your butt and actually make some of your own art. And on that note, I actually got my very first bit of fan art this week for the channel. Someone actually took the time and drew me. Well, actually they drew the caricature version of me that I always show in the intro of the videos, but still, it is me. I want to give a big shout out to Boyko Valeric for sending me this awesome bit of fan art. Thank you so much. I hope you just kicked off a new fan art trend. If anyone else wants to draw any fan art for the channel, please feel free to drop a link to it in the comments below. Or, if you want to send a direct email to me, just go to my website, www.salamander.studio, and look for the little email icon. It looks like an envelope. Next up, I wanted to take a little bit of time to point out a few artists that I've been following for Inktober this year. And right off the bat, I need to start off with the father of Inktober, Jake Parker, who has been working like a beast this month. Jake has been traveling around the United States on book tour for his new children's book, Little Botan Sparrow, which is actually his first children's book that he's both written and illustrated. Also, while doing all this traveling, he's been doing art drops in the cities he's been traveling to, and he's still finding the time to participate in doing the Inktober challenge. Jake is not only doing a bang-up job using the official Inktober prompt list, but he's also unifying all of his drawings by featuring his title character, Little Bot, in all the drawings. Way to show us how it's done, man. Next is the artist Trudi Castle, who is expanding her own characters in a magical world involving cat wizards, coffee magicians, donut warriors, robots, and sentient eggs. I adore her style because I want to live in the world she's creating. She's making something that is fantastically whimsical and appealing, and I desperately want whatever final form her artwork ends up actually taking. Then there's Anthony Coffey, whose unbelievably appealing style screams animate me. Anthony has been working off of the official Inktober prompt list, but he's also using each day's word as an inspiration to create new pages in a wonderful narrative based around a bear that's on a mission. Each of his drawings leaves me wanting more, and I'm dying to know what's going to happen. Next is Gabriel Dunston, who's actually one of my best buddies, and he's letting each day basically take him wherever he wants during Inktober. Gabe's style is both whimsically appealing and utterly creepy at times, and I freaking love it. His sense of character design is spot on, and he's always evoking such personality that I can't help but imagine the story behind each character in the drawing. Next is Luigi Lucarelli, whose style is wonderfully clean and extremely appealing and endearing. Luigi is using the official Inktober prompt list to create illustrations to tell a story on their own, but they aren't necessarily related to each other. You can tell that Luigi has worked really hard to nail his own unique, all-ages style that seriously deserves to be showcased in some animated movie or video game or something. And last but not least is Rob Maumarts, who is a freaking inking god as far as I'm concerned. Honestly, he's one of my favorite illustrators who's working today, and his style is cartoony, beautifully rendered, and wonderfully shaded. Sadly, work and family obligations have limited his participation in Inktober this year. So what he's done instead is he's showcasing old Inktober drawings, which do not disappoint. If you're interested in following any of the artists that I just mentioned, you can search for them using their Instagram handles, which were above all the drawings that I just showcased. Or you can follow the links to their Instagram handles, which I've pasted into the show notes below. And if you can think of anyone who I haven't mentioned in this video who you think is an Inktober Rockstar, please drop their info in a comment below.
Next, I want to give you all a quick reminder that I'm running an Inktober special October only reward on my Patreon account right now. You can get a full set of prints of all the drawings I will be doing for Inktober this year, including the 7 drawings you'll see in this video. Also, as a bonus, this reward will get you access to my patron-only activity feed, and you'll be able to download my PDF comics, including the full run of Barely Listening, my graphic novel Giant, and my sketch collections. It also gets you each item for around $1, so I think it's a pretty good deal. Just so you know, this reward will only be available during the month of October, and will be limited to 100 sets, so if you want one, you should act fast. Just head on over to patreon.com/Chris Wharton and scroll on down until you see the Inktober logo. And if for whatever reason you don't want to partake in the Inktober special, but you would like to support me and my efforts to bring you cool content, please check out the other reward options. Honestly, every little bit helps. Okay, enough of the self-promotion. On to this week's drawings. This week, I thought I'd tell you a few things I do while inking, which may help you in the way you approach your drawings. The first is, I wear a glove. The main reason for this is while I'm drawing, my hand tends to start sticking to the paper, which can move the paper around and cause my lines to wobble, or just get completely thrown off track. The glove allows my hand to slide and move over the paper while I'm inking, without pulling the paper along with my hand. The second reason I do this is to keep from getting pencil or ink on my hand, which can accidentally smudge on the paper, ruining my attempts at clean lines. Now smudges can still happen, so I have to allow time for the ink to dry before putting my hand on top of those areas, but it seems to happen much less often when I'm using my glove. The glove I wear is just a costume glove that I bought from Party City for $5, which I then cut off the thumb, index, and middle fingers. The reason I cut off those fingers is just to be able to get a good grip on my pen or pencil while I'm drawing. Now you don't necessarily need a glove to keep your hand from sticking to the paper and stopping the smudges. I see a lot of artists that just keep an extra piece of paper under their drawing hand while they draw or ink for the same purpose. I actually tend to use this method myself when I don't have my glove with me. The only downside to this method is that you have to constantly move this scrap of piece of paper as you move your hand. The next thing I do as I draw is start with objects that are in the foreground, or lines that are unbroken by other lines. This allows me to ink a section of the drawing. Then the ends of the lines that butt up against the lines I just inked can be seamlessly interweaved into the lines I drew first. When I ink the other way around, background lines to foreground lines, I'm more likely to misjudge how long the lines in the background need to be, and then I will need to adjust them after I've moved on to the foreground lines. Working foreground to background just takes out the extra adjustment steps and unnecessary cleanup using white paint, whiteout, razor blades, or Photoshop. And the last inking tip I wanted to talk about was shading with the surface shape in mind. When inking, I tend to use hatching or parallel lines to indicate transitions into shadowed areas. When I do this, I try to allow the parallel lines to reinforce the shape of the objects I'm drawing. For example, if the surface of the object I'm drawing is flat, my hatching lines all tend to be straight and parallel. And if the object I'm drawing is curved, then I change the hatching lines to follow the curves of the object. This way my shading is pulling double duty and helps really make the objects jump off the page. If any of these tricks sound new to you, try them out and let me know if they help. By the way, I was recently on the Name Redacted podcast chatting with Alex, Chris, and Colin about webcomics, finding my voice in making YouTube videos, random topics like raising my daughter bilingual, doing panels at Comic Cons, and other crazy con stories. This podcast has some adult language, so beware because we swear. If you would like to check it out, just go on over to nameredactedpodcast.com or check out the direct link in the show notes. This podcast also features a promo code that will get you $1 off the PDF comics that are featured in my online store at gumroad.com/giantcomic. So, if you haven't gotten those PDF comics, be sure to jump on that. And finally, next month, November 11th through the 13th, I'll be at NC Comic Con in Durham, North Carolina. I'll be there peddling my comics, including the last 30 copies of Giant, and my art prints, and I'll be at the webcomics panel. So, if you're in the area, please stop on by and say hi. If you liked today's video, please give me a big thumbs up and leave me a comment. And if you're new and you want to see more videos every week, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. We'll catch you next week.